Dear students and friends, I am K. Damodran, Assistant Professor of Aero Department, Tagore Engineering College. I welcomes you all for online workshop on Build Your Own Plane at Home. This workshop comprises three sections. First section based on how aircraft flies, what are the control surfaces used to control the aircraft in flying condition. And second section making of glider, and the last one drone introduction. So what is the difference between aeroplane and aircraft? It is same or different? Actually both are same only but quite different. Aeroplane is a fixed wing heavier than air that can fly because of its own fixed wing by using power plant like jet engine, propeller or rocket engine, etc. But aircraft is an any machine or any object that can fly through air. Example, hot air balloon, helicopter, blimp, etc. So classification of aircraft. Aircraft is classified into two major types, lighter than air, heavier than air. Lighter than air is further classified into non-motorized and motorized. Non-motorized means there is a no external machine, that is motor, used for run that device. Example, balloon. In the balloon, we used hot air alone to move the balloon up and down by carrying the passengers like that. In the motorized, blimp is an example. Yeah, this is a blimp. Here you can see that yellow big ship and then white big ship. Here there is a in this big balloon there's some bottom thing is there. So this is where we can carry the passenger from one place to another. Not now. During the earlier 19th century, that is the 1940s, 1930s, people used this blimp for carrying the passenger from one place to another. And then heavier than air. Heavier than air is classified into same thing, non-motorized and motorized. In the non-motorized, glider is the best example. That is, in the glider, there is a no engine is used to move the glider. In the motorized section, we can see plane, rotorcraft, bird. Plane means any plane like a civil, cargo or military aircraft. Rotorcraft means helicopters. Autogyro is a small machine carry only the one people for demo purpose. A bird or ornithopter. VTOL means vertical takeoff and landing. Here you can see some of the aircraft images. Here helicopter. This is a aircraft. This is also aircraft. This is a aircraft. This we can tell aircraft or aeroplane. This is aeroplane, right? No, this is an aircraft. So blimp is named as aircraft only, not aeroplane. Missile is also an aircraft because missile contains a fixed wing, so we can refer missile is also an aircraft, but rocket is not an aircraft. So whenever the object or any machine flying through air, some of the forces acting on it. Let me see what are the four forces acting on flight, which is a major part of study. So lift, drag, thrust, weight. So in these four words, you are familiar with the word weight. Yeah, weight is I think about complete weight of an aircraft acting on the CG point, acting on the CG point of the aircraft. That our Earth's gravity pull the aircraft weight through its CG point alone. So aircraft it is always acting straight downward. What is the formula for weight? Weight is nothing about mass into gravity. That is the mass of the aircraft is pulled by the Earth's gravity G. And then thrust. Thrust is a force which created by the engine or propeller. Here we can tell Newton Newton's second law and Newton's third laws are used for producing thrust. What is Newton's second law? What is Newton's second law? Newton's second law is thrust is equal to mass into acceleration. That is, the mass of air is accelerating by the propeller backward. So that acceleration, that is the action. What is opposite reaction? Our aircraft is moving forward. That is a Newton's third law. So thrust is a force created by Newton's second law and then Newton's third law acting only on the thrust. Okay, so here you can see thrust is equal to drag. Okay, so what is drag? The thrust is equal to drag means obviously drag is a very important force to consider. Okay, because thrust and drag are acting always parallel to the wings. Next one, drag. So drag is a force which always acting opposite to the direction of flight. Whatever the direction of it is, a takeoff or a climb or descent, the drag is acting exactly opposite to the direction of flight. What does it mean? Drag is nothing about whenever any object flying in the air, there is some frictional resistance happens between air and then surface of the skin. So that frictional resistance is compressively called as a drag. Okay. Next thing, it's a very major force. Without this force, we can't take off our flight. We can't fly our flight. Anything. So lift is the force always acting perpendicular to the wing. You can see L is equal to W. So lift is equal to weight. So whatever the weight of the aircraft, so that should be takeoff. How? By creating the lift force over the wing. So lift must be compensated your weight of the aircraft. It may be some 100 ton or 50 ton or 1 ton or some 100 gram, sorry, 100 kg of the aircraft. Okay, that lift is alone to carry the aircraft from the ground. So I will tell this lift in the later PPT section. Next, what are the parts of an aircraft? So important parts of an aircraft, nothing about wings, fuselage, empennage, landing gears, control surface, engines. So in this image you can see these two things are wings. This is a fuselage, power plant, landing gear, empennage. Now one more image is here. Here you can see the cockpit. Cockpit is obviously that pilot places there only to control the entire aircraft. Okay, the fuselage center section is a fuselage where wings with the control surfaces. Both are power plants with the jet engine, vertical stabilizer, horizontal stabilizer, and some control surfaces. Next, what is fuselage? Fuselage is the main part of the plane located centrally of the entire aircraft. It's something about the large hollow tube but tapers at the back. Okay, so in this fuselage only all the passengers and the baggages are held, and also wing and empennage are attached only in the fuselage part. So fuselage also include cockpit also. So in this image you can see this is a cockpit. This is the entire fuselage section with empennage attached at the back part. So here you can see the structural member of the fuselage, how it constructed. Here you can see that this is the part where we can arrange the seat for passengers. Here used for the baggages and some other uh, systems for maintain the fuselage and maintain that our aircraft perfectly. Next, wing. So wing is the very major source of the aircraft, major part of the aircraft, because wings alone provide or produce the lift for the aircraft. So they are attached on both sides of the fuselage. The front of the wing is called the leading edge and the back of the wing is called the trailing edge. So in the trailing edge only we attach some of the control surfaces. in the leading edge also we attach some control surfaces. So without a wing, aircraft, that is the aeroplane, can't able to take off. So you can see in the wing, in this image, there is one shape is here. Yeah, this is the aerofoil shape. So aerofoil shape is nothing about, it's a cross-sectional shape of your wing, or this shape is also used in the propeller blade uh, when moved through a fluid. So this shape create the lift. How? Let me see in this image. So here in this, that the blue lines show that one streamline, upper streamline, and that the red line shows the lower streamline. So initially you can see that these three dots are all on the same line. When the upper streamline approaches the aerofoil, what will happen? This curved surface provides a high velocity. Uh, in this section, I will tell about Bernoulli's theorem. So, aerofoil is purely based on what's on the Bernoulli's theorem. That is a high pressure, low velocity, or low velocity, high pressure. So here, high velocities take place because of this curved surface. That flow is accelerated very fast. So high velocity is created. So we get the low pressure over the upper surface. So in the bottom surface, low velocity takes place. So high pressure is created. So this high pressure is created to push your wing upward direction. That is, a lift is formed. Okay. So this blue line make a longer distance to travel over the aerofoil. This red streamline very shorter distance over under the aerofoil surface. So this longer path theory uh, to create the lift. So here you can see, and one more thing. So lift is nothing about is the resultant force of all the forces acting over the aerofoil surface. Imagine you can see there is a lot of lines over the aerofoil. So we can comprise all the forces in a some single point. Okay, that is the resultant force is nothing about our lift. So drag is always acting normal to the lift. Because of this airflow, there is some frictional resistance happens between this streamline and our surface of the aerofoil. So this one create the drag. So without the drag we can't drive our aircraft. So drag is obviously happens in all the machines or objects flying through the air. Okay, so airfoil nomenclature. This is very important to know. Why? Because so this only describe the what are the control surface used for to maintain this aircraft must stay in the air. So here first one, leading edge. I told now. So leading edge is the front part of the wing. Likewise, front part of, because this is a airfoil means this is the wing. So we can draw a wing like this. Okay. So this is the front part of the wing. So leading edge, and then trailing part of the wing is our. So trailing edge is the back of the wing, and you can see one dashed line. So this is a camber line. This is camber line means exactly divide the upper surface and then lower surface. Okay, and there is a one line joining from leading edge to trailing edge is nothing about chord line. So difference between chord line and camber line is nothing about camber. Here they not mentioned. Yeah, they not mentioned. Anyway, so this distance is about camber. So this camber only decides the aircraft takeoff and landing by using the some other control surfaces. Okay, here you can see different aerofoil shape. This is a symmetrical shape. So upper surface and lower surface are in the both thickness. Here upper surface and lower surface thickness are may vary because of its shape. So this is a supercritical airfoil, white Omo was supercritical airfoil. This airfoil used for fighter aircrafts. Next one, empennage. Empennage is nothing about, it's a tail part, entire tail section. It consists of the horizontal stabilizer and then vertical stabilizer. So in the horizontal stabilizer, we place the control surfaces like elevator, sorry. In the vertical stabilizer or fin, we can place rudder as a control surfaces. Next, power plant. So power plant is the major part of an engine. If power plant is not provided in the aircraft, that is called the glider. So for all the aircraft which carry the passengers, so we used power plant. It's nothing about engine or engines, because one engine, this is a piston engine used at the front of the fuselage, or we can use two engines side by side at the fuselage sides for carrying the more passengers. See, it can be located in on the front of the aircraft fuselage or toward the rear of the aeroplane. Okay, so there are so many power plants are there, but major classified into two things: piston engine and then jet engine. So in the jet engines, some four different engines are there. Okay, so here you can see the engine part with propeller. Next one, landing gear. So landing gear on most aircraft consists of wheels and struts. So here you can see the wheels and then strut. Strut is the part which connect the wheel to the aircraft members. So one, two, three, four, five. You can see some sorry, one, two, three, four, five. So this the back or the main landing gear. This is a nose landing gear for the aircraft. Here you can see the skies used for aircraft land over the icy surface. Uh, this is a float. Aircraft used float to float over the water surface for landing or takeoff. So this image clearly shows the airplane parts and function. So fuselage hold things together, carry payload. So this without fuselage, there is a no aircraft, we can say. So fuselage which hold all the parts held together, okay, and carry the payload also. So cockpit to command and control the entire aircraft by pilot. So turbine engine which generate the thrust, wing to generate the lift, so winglet to reduce the drag, horizontal stabilizer, this one, vertical stabilizer, rudder and elevator, flaps, increase lift and drag, aileron, and then spoilers. I will explain these things next slides. Changing the direction. So next, flight control surfaces is used to control the aircraft direction, like a takeoff and landing, right turn or left turn, whatever it is. So this control surface is classified into three major groups. First is a primary group of primary control surfaces, secondary group, and then auxiliary group. Primary group is nothing about aileron, elevator, rudder. For example, for a small aircraft like a pushback type, these three are a major part. So in that small aircraft, these things are not necessary. So primary group is necessary for all the aircraft: aileron, elevator, rudder. So in the secondary group is used for the big aircrafts. So wing flaps, spoilers, speed brakes, leading edge flap, slats, and slots. In that auxiliary group, trim tab, spring tab. Next, aircraft axis. So we have three axes. One is the longitudinal axis, which is acting along the fuselage length, and second one vertical axis, which is acting normal to the longitudinal axis, and the lateral axis is acting along the wingspan, that is one end of the wing to the other end of the wing. Airplanes are controlled by three movements. One is a pitch, roll, and then yaw. For takeoff and landing, we use the pitch motion. For right and left turn, we use yaw and then roll motion jointly. So pitch is controlled by the elevator, roll is controlled by the aileron, and yaw is controlled by the rudder. For making this movement, these three movement, we need these primary control surfaces. Okay, we have to operate these control surfaces by using the joystick. Okay, first we see the separate control surfaces, then come back to the animation. First one, elevator. I say this is a major part of the aircraft control surfaces, because for takeoff and landing, for climb up and then descent, this is a major control surfaces. So elevator is located where? It is located at the here, horizontal stabilizer. Okay, in order to move your plate up and down, we can move our elevator up and down. So here in this image you can see uh, that elevator is moving upward. Moving upward means that is air is deflected in the above direction. So at that time lift is acting downward direction. Again I'm telling, air is moving above direction means lift is acting downward direction. So during this that aircraft is a movement, so this lift is acting along the this longitudinal axis. That means your CG point is like a fixed point now. So about the CG point, your aircraft is move up, that is a pitch up. For pitch down, your elevator is move downward direction. That time your aircraft is moving down by deflect the air downward direction, so lift is acting at the upward direction. So if a lift is acting upward means your pitch is down, your lifting acts downward means your pitch is up, that is aircraft is up direction. So here elevator is in the normal condition, so pitch is controlled by the elevator. So the movement about the lateral axis, so this movement is controlled along the lateral axis only. Next one, aileron. I said aileron is used for making a right turn or left turn, but most probably this is used for the roll condition. For most of the fighter aircraft, there is a sudden roll take place that can be controlled by only the ailerons. So ailerons are found near the tip of the trailing edge of wing. So this is also one rectangular shape. This is a rectangular shaped aerofoil, okay, which is in rise or lower to disturb the airflow over the wing. While disturbing the airflow, we can change the lift over the wing. So ailerons are used to turn the airplane by creating the more lift on one wing than the other wing. If you want to make a turn, so we have to increase the weight in one of the wing and decrease the lift in one of the, sorry, not a weight, is a lift. The lift is in one of the wing and in less lift in next wing, that is the left wing. Okay, so longitudinal axis extends lengthwise from the nose through tail. So movement about the longitudinal axis is called the roll. So by placing the longitudinal axis, based on the longitudinal axis, your roll movement is take place. So roll is controlled by the ailerons. For example, imagine you are sit inside the cockpit. If you want to make a left roll, that is a left turn means your right side wing should give the more lift. Your left side wing should give the less lift. Then only we can make a left roll. If you want to make a right roll, your left wing gives a more lift, and the right wing provides a less lift. Then only we can move in the right roll. Next one, rudder. So rudder is a movable piece of vertical stabilizer. So this one allows to your aircraft is turn left or right. Okay, about the vertical axis. So based on vertical axis only, we can decide either right turn or left turn. Okay, so this can be controlled by the foot pedals present in the cockpit. Okay, this is like how we can make a brake or clutch in the car. So we just move the foot pedal to control your aircraft right or left turn. So yaw is controlled by the rudder. What is yaw? Yaw means it's like a turn. If you want to make a right turn, you move your rudder in the right side. So at that time side force is created. That means a lift is created over the rudder. So above the center of gravity, so your lift is acting left side means your aircraft moves in the right direction. Your lift is acting in the left side, sorry, right side means your aircraft moves in the left direction. So by based on this control the rudder, we can control our right turn or left turn. So now we come back to the animation. See, so this is how we control the rudder. Yeah, first wait. So by moving the joystick right or left, we can control the aileron up and down, and then just pushing and pulling, we can control the elevator up and down. By pedaling, we can control the rudder. So you can see again aileron movement. If you move the stick is a right side means one wing is up, one wing is low. That is the motion. A rudder movement. See, one wing is up, one wing is low. Okay, the exact deflection take place in both of the wings. Likewise, we can pull the joystick, push or pulling, we can control the elevator. By pedaling, we can control the rudder. Next one, flaps. For a big aircraft, I said we can carry more number of weights, more number of passengers, more load also. So further, how we can create the more lift? So at that time, we use flaps. So flaps are smaller aerofoils, say like this. Okay, found on the rear part of the wing. Okay, which is placed very nearest to the fuselage. Ailerons are always just away from the fuselage. Like this is the aileron for this aircraft. So flaps are placed kept very near to the fuselage. So flaps can be extended to increase the wing surface area. Okay, I say in a camber. Here we increase the camber of the aircraft. Okay, while camber is increasing means lift is increasing. That is a study. So by increasing the flaps, we can increase the wing surface area and also camber area. So lift is generating more. So while lift is generating more means we can take off and landing the aircraft. So for this flaps is used for both takeoff and landing. For takeoff, we just deflect the flaps up to some 30 degree. Okay, for landing, we deflect the flaps up to 45 degree. That means we just cut off the flow. At that time, lift is not generated that much, so landing can be take place. But for takeoff, we need the more lift because we have to compensate the aircraft weight. So we need more lift. So at that time we extend the flaps up to some 30-degree angle, so we get the maximum lift, enough lift for takeoff. So here you can see outboard flaps, inboard flaps. Inboard flaps means that flaps are placed very near to the fuselage. See, here you can see flaps up and then flaps down. Next one, glider. So I say now glider is a non-motorized aircraft. So this is a fixed wing aircraft that is supported in flight by the dynamic reaction of the air against its lifting surfaces. See here you can see the some large wing. So by using this wing alone we get the lift. So for this glider there is a no need of any external engine or motor anything. So types of gliders. So balsa glider or balsa wood or styrofoam toy glider. Some people say this is a toy, but this glider is mostly for educational purpose. So we can demonstrate our study by using these gliders because these are very inexpensive vehicle for students to make the learning fun by learning the basics of aerodynamics. So hang gliders. So this is a hang glider or a piloted aircraft having cloth wings and a minimal structure. It's very like a minimum structure. Sail planes. So this is a sail planes. So in this sail plane, pilot or sit inside the cockpit. So like a basic aircraft construction, but the only thing is there is a no engine. But all the control systems are placed in this glider without power plant. So space shuttle. So space shuttle is act as a glider while during re-entry. During liftoff, we use a rocket engine, but while re-entry into the Earth, space shuttle act as a glider. Next, important terminology used in aircraft. So first one, angle of attack. As I said earlier, angle of attack is nothing about angle between the wing to the relative wind. That is a this is a chord line. What is a chord line? A line which is joining the leading edge to the trailing edge. So angle between the chord line to the upcoming wind, nothing about angle of attack. So angle of attack increases means more lift is generated. Okay, from 0 to 15 degree is the angle of attack degree is that time only we get the maximum lift for our aircraft. That means smooth airflow over the aerofoil. Actually, I forgot to tell the aerofoil. Aerofoil is used for to provide the smooth airflow over it. Okay, over the wing. So up to 15 degree only we get the smooth airflow over it. After 15 degree, what will happen means that smooth airflow is broken up. Okay, we get the turbulent flow, that is some rough flow take place. So at that time lift can't be generated. So all the aircrafts are operated only up to 15 degree angle of attack. After that stall will take place. Stall means breakdown of the lift. Simply is the sudden loss of lift. Okay, once aircraft enter into the stall, it is very difficult to recover in the normal flying condition. If the aircraft is fly very near to the surface, if stall take place means we can't again provide the lift over the aerofoil, then aircraft may fall to the ground. So people should take care. There is a pilot ensure there should be no stall take place in the aircraft for takeoff conditions. Next one, aspect ratio. Uh, it also an important parameter for designing the glider. Okay, so aspect ratio is nothing about is the ratio of wingspan to the wing chord length. So wingspan is nothing about from one end of the wing to the other end of the wing. So this is the wingspan. So wingspan is the one end of the left wing to the left end of the wing to the right end of the wing. And the chord is nothing about from trailing edge to the leading edge. So this is a C, and then yes, aspect ratio nothing about span by chord, S by C or S square by A. A is nothing about wing area. Okay, here you can see S is in that meter, chord in meter means there is a no unit for aspect ratio. It is just a number. So these three are the aspect ratio examples. These are low aspect ratio. So low aspect ratio used only for a fighter aircraft, medium aspect ratio for the normal aircraft, high aspect ratio for the gliders alone. Because aspect ratio increases means we get the more lift, like what we see in the glider image. Okay, so gliders require the maximum lift because we no need any use of engine. So we use high aspect ratio, and high aspect ratio provides the stability also. Okay, in that fighter aircraft, you may ask us what of the stability. In the fighter aircraft, we need not any stability. We no need to worry about the stability. But for glider, we worry about the stability alone. So for that only we use the high aspect ratio. So for your glider design, you may fix your aspect ratio. So as I said earlier, so this is the airflow nomenclature. Yeah, here you can see dihedral angle. So for the gliders, for all the gliders around the world, there is some small dihedral angle take place. Why? Because to prevent the rolling stability. While gliders flying in the air, there is some sudden wind hit our glider means what will happen? It may roll. Because there is a no engine, then how we can control the glider? So for that purpose, we use a dihedral angle. So dihedral angle to prevent your glider from rolling condition. Okay, so it won't roll, it just make a small turn only. So here one more image is there. So how to calculate wing area? So here this is a taper wing, it's a straight taper wing. So these are the control surfaces. While designing the glider, you also enclosed your wing area with control surfaces. You should consider your control surfaces to calculate the wing area. Okay, next very important parameter, CG, center of gravity. In all the flying aircraft or flying missions, CG is very important property. Okay, so in our aircraft, CG is always located where? at the wing only. We always consider CG is located in the wing part only. Okay, so your airplane or glider rotates about its center of gravity. Either it is a right turn or left turn, or pitch up and pitch down. Okay, or yaw, roll, whatever it is, whatever the motion. So that every motion is acting about its center of gravity. Okay, in the glider, so CG is always acting 33 percentage of chord of our wing. So from the leading edge, so 33 percentage of the chord is our CG range. While designing the aircraft, so after complete every design, every making, you must ensure your CG is exactly placed at this point. Then only your aircraft is flying in the stable condition. That mean that time only we can see the good CG. For nose up and the nose up and the nose down is based on the CG means. So here we just place a finger under each wing. Okay, then we can say if CG is here or not. If you place a wing here means plane is correctly balanced. Okay, so there is a no nose heavy or tail heavy. But in this image you can see tail heavy is there. That is a hanging tail heavy means if you place a finger here to find the CG point, your aircraft is moving backward means that is a tail heavy. So at that time we can add some extra weight or ballast weight at the nose of the fuselage to maintain your CG at this point. Okay, so based on the movement like a tail heavy or nose heavy, we can adjust the weight at the both end to maintain our CG at this point. So dimension for design our gliders. So this dimension is very important. Aspect ratio, wingspan, angle of attack is need or not, horizontal stabilizer, vertical stabilizer, dihedral, length of fuselage. So by using this basic dimensioning, you can design your own glider. Next, DIY glider. What is DIY? Do it yourself. That means what are the material available in our home, we can design our glider. So these are the normal materials available in the home. Okay, I will tell in the next making session.
Hi guys, let me see what are the materials used for making our glider. Rubber band, paper clip, masking tape, scale pencil, knife, empty pen or empty refill, cycle spokes, and this is a water cover or a cap, anything. This is a small bead, anabond or super glue, cutting plier, nose plier, glue gun, styrofoam and propeller. Here you can see various propeller sizes from 6 inch to 9 inch. This is a 6-inch propeller. Here I mentioned some numbers over there. Here 6 represents the inches, that is the diameter of the propeller in inches. 6 inches is the diameter of this propeller, and 4 represent the pitch of the propeller in 4 inches. It means if propeller move in one rotation, that aircraft moves in 4 inches in forward direction. Okay, here 8 cross 4.5, 8 cross 3.8 SF. What is SF means is a slow flyer meaning. This propeller is used for slow flying models or drone models like that. And here 9 inch and then 9 cross 3.8 E means electric aircraft. By using these materials, I already prepared one small rubber powered model. Yeah, this is the one. I hold the fuselage center stick, and here you can see wing with aileron at the both side, horizontal stabilizer with elevator, vertical stabilizer with rudder, and landing gear which used for moving the aircraft over the surface. Here you can see rubber band at below the fuselage with propeller at the front. This is act as a power plant for this model. Okay, this is my another one RC model, that is a remotely controlled aircraft model. Here I attach the power plant at the front of the fuselage. This is the electric motor which controlled by the electronic speed controller. Here I didn't attach any servos or receiver anything. I just shown some model for the power plant example. Okay. Here this model we can see in the later webinar session. Now we can design our own model by using the dimension. Here I use my dimension. This is my dimension. Here you can see the three important parameters: wingspan, chord, aspect ratio. Here I choose wingspan and chord as the first two important parameters. By using that I find the aspect ratio. Here wingspan is 50 centimeter and the chord 6 centimeter. Aspect ratio 8.33 from the wingspan and the chord. That you know the formula B by C. Wing area nothing about wingspan into chord. To find the length of fuselage is nothing about 65% of the wingspan. That is a 0.65 into 50 centimeter. That is the length of the fuselage is 32.5 centimeter. To find the stabilizer area of the both tail, that is the vertical and horizontal stabilizer. Horizontal stabilizer area is equal to 20% of wing area. That is a 0.2 into wing area. We get the 60 centimeter square. By using the horizontal stabilizer area, we find the vertical stabilizer area, nothing about 40% of it. So 0.4 into 60 we get the 25 centimeter square. Here you see some diagrams. Tail, that is a horizontal tail and then vertical tail. By using this stabilizer area value, I found chord and then span of the horizontal tail and the vertical tail also. And here you can see the wing. Total wing span is 50 centimeter, but I choose a dihedral forming model. Why? Because means dihedral is used to prevent the rolling stability. When aircraft flying, that is our glider flying in the air, when sudden wind is blow that our model means it won't roll, it just move calmly and then landing over the surface. Here I add some angle 30 degree to 35 degree. By adding this angle to my wing, that upward portion, that wing contain 12 centimeter length. So the total length of my styrofoam wing is nothing but 30 plus 12 plus 12, 54. But the wingspan of my glider is only 50 centimeter. Okay, now after I just cut all the materials and I will show how to paste and everything. Here I cut the parts. This is a horizontal tail with you can see one dashed line, sorry, one solid line. This is used for maybe cut as a elevator in the future. This is a vertical tail. Here also I draw one line. We can cut as a rudder. This is a wing. Here we have two lines here. I can make a dihedral wing just folding along this line. And this is a fuselage stick. And I pasted extra styrofoam here to hold my propeller bearing part. And this is my propeller. I choose an 8 cross 3.8 SF propeller. I told SF is the slow fly propeller because our glider model is a slow fly model. Here I use a beads and then my empty pen to make a shaft connected to the propeller, and I also made in this bearing part. So this one act as my propeller moving part. So let we see how to hold this propeller in the fuselage part. But before itself, I will make some curve around here to hold our rubber band. So using our nose plier, we can hold, or we can use a cutting plier to hold up to some distance like here, and bend using nose plier. So like this. Here you can see, even though you can little bit bend, put here, wait, or else use your yeah, I think this is enough. You can also bend up to here. Yeah, okay. So now this is act as a propeller shaft. Okay, you can see this act as a propeller shaft. At this end, I just pour some glue for not moving the propeller shaft during the flying time. Okay, glue gun got heated. So here I just pour some small drop and let it dry. Just remove the excess glue. Keep over here. Then I paste my horizontal stabilizer over the fuselage. Actually, this is the part where I hold the bearing, so I just move aside like this. So this is I measure as the some 3 point yeah, nearly 4. So up to 4 centimeter I make one line because I don't want to waste my glue over my fuselage, or else it may add some weight over there. So after measuring that, and also I notice some extra protrusion here is there. Using the knife, just smoothly remove the excess part over the fuselage. So please be cautious while using the knife. So don't make an urgent. Okay, please be patient to hold your knife. Okay, so here I paste the part, apply the glue and just paste the part. Just hold the finger like here, then only I can paste. And I also notice like this, you can also notice like this to ensure your tail in exactly parallel to ground. Yeah, I make it. Also put it upside down. Now I'm going to see. Now you can see it won't go like this. So you can freely move the propeller. So now I'm going to place the propeller in that fuselage part. So I just apply the glue at the side part. So I just apply maximum glue because it's a very important part. If you add the glue at the front part, it acts as a ballast weight. It will bring the CG forward to the wing. Okay, I just keep aside. Okay, sorry, my face, my tail got away from there. Also, I also add glue here. I will put one part like here for holding that. Okay, we cut this part. Okay, now you see, yeah, now we can cut this part as a rudder formation. Don't make some harsh cut, just make a small cut up to the top layer should be peeled off from that. Okay, so like this. Yeah, see, now we can see only the top layer only cut, then later you just remove the excess part like this. So now it freely move like this. So now you can see this is a vertical tail with rudder formation. So likewise we can cut elevator part in our horizontal tail. So you can see I just hold, make a some, you can see, yeah, you can see some small cut, just holding in my hand. See, just cut it. So I mentioned before, just make a some light cut over here. Again I am telling, please be cautious while cutting the extra parts. Please don't cut your hands. My knife is not good to cut. Okay, now it's good. Okay, it takes some extra part. Okay, anyway, it's good to look. So okay, yeah. So now you can see now we cut elevator part. So later we can fix this part move like this by using the masking tape or cellophane tape, whatever you have in your home. Don't think masking tape is required. You can also use cellophane tape for holding your part like this, for moving your aircraft up or down like this. Okay, so now as I told earlier, so we make one dihedral wing. So using scale like this, okay, just make some horse press like this. You can make one dihedral part. Yeah, like this. See, exactly at that line, I make one bend. This one act as a dihedral for this wing. See again. Yeah, so now we can see this is a dihedral for our aircraft. It's a glider. I never cut anything, never bend anything. It is look like a some slight bend, not much big. It's a slight bend, but this is some extra bend act as a dihedral. You can fix in a 45 or 30 whatever is dimension what you need. Even you can also make one aileron cut also here, but now I no need to make an aileron cut because I'm having dihedral. Okay, so now switch off that glue gun. Please be take care your glue gun, or else you may lose your glue. See, I just apply. First I bend this. I apply glue over the bottom layer of the rudder. It means till tail. Okay, and then paste it exactly above the horizontal tail. Just hold for some few seconds to stick your glue on the both. Yeah, it's good. It's good looking. You can see now. Yeah. Just leave as it is. At this time, I teach you how to join the rubber band. Here two rubber band. Okay. This is a 3-inch rubber band, and I'm also having a more. So these are 2-inch rubber band. You can see this is a small thing. This is a big one. So I bought a 3-inch rubber band. Just make like this. Okay. Put inside this rubber band. Okay, like this. just do like this and then make one. That's all. You joined two rubber band as a single part because we used to join a more rubber band for a more elastic power. Okay, now you can see. So vertical tail part is fixed. Now you see your propeller is moving without any disturbance. Okay, this one also acts as good. Okay, not bad. You can see now. See, the next thing is we have to add the connecting part, either using now I'm using paper clip. See my paper clip. Now I'm using paper clip for holding the rubber band this side. So I just move this part like this. So move away this part like this and keep it here. Keep it here. Sorry, this again another one. I'm using a nose plier to hold tightly. You can also apply glue gun also here. It is exactly here. Okay. So remove the excess glue over there. Okay. Now it's look good. Okay. Now you can see, you just make some connection like this. So you just join this two side like this. You see, you just join our propeller shaft to this end point. Now we can move like this. See, you can see during the elastic power, that energy again regained by the elastic band and given to the shaft in the opposite direction. Okay, we are rotating the clockwise, means that motion the anti-clockwise. Next, how to find CG of an aircraft. Without adding wing, we can find the CG of the fuselage itself because we add everything except wing alone. Just tying one wire or a cable thread, anything, whatever you have in your home, just tie at the fuselage part very near to the front of the fuselage. See, here you can see tail part is heavy, so I just move this thread, just move aside. Now it's somewhat, yeah, see, now we can see it's like a stable. Now we find the CG of the exact CG of the aircraft. So this is a part, I just marked this part. You see, I just mark this part. I just fix the wing over here. But before that, but the CG of the entire aircraft with the wing is nothing about how to find, means 33% of the span, there only our CG of the aircraft takes place. 33% of 6 centimeter, nothing about 2 centimeter. So 33% of 6 centimeter, nothing about 2 centimeter, because my chord is 6 centimeter. So from the leading edge of the wing, so I just take a 2 centimeter and draw one line. So this is my CG of the wing as well as CG of the aircraft also, because already we found a CG on the fuselage. Okay, so I just marked here. So from this point, make some 2 centimeter line. Find some 2 centimeter distance. Okay, yeah. So this is a position where we can place our wing. So from here we can paste our wing like this. So this is the exact point of the CG location. Okay, so I just add the glue over the surface Yeah, everything is good. Okay, wait. I switch off that glue gun. Okay, wait for some time. Okay, glue gun got heated. During that time I just cut the excess part over this top layer by using the knife and sanding that area also, then only I can exactly paste my wing over there without any disturbance. Okay, now I just apply the glue. Yeah, now I just, you can see it's exact coincident both the x and y axis, that is the longitudinal axis and then lateral axis of the aircraft, so mentioned earlier in the PPT. Yeah, now you can see it's the exact position with dihedral wing. Now we base everything. Yeah, this is your assembled model of the rubber powered glider. So next we will see about how this fly in the sky. You can see total weight of this model is only 36 gram, so it can easily float in the sky. Let me see the flying.
So third section, a drone introduction. So what is a drone? So drone in technological terms is like a unmanned aircraft. So drones are formerly known as a unmanned aerial vehicle or unmanned aircraft systems. So drone is a flying robot remotely controlled or flying autonomously through software controlled flight plans in their embedded systems or by using onboard sensors and GPS. Nowadays you can see drones are used so many areas, okay, but that drones are operated by only the well piloted people, okay. So here the UK government give some acronym for the drone. So D represents for don't fly near airports or airfields. Some people fly the drones very near to the airports or airfield, but that if you fly any drone near the airports or airfield means, so that make us a threat to that people. So please don't do that, avoid that. So remember to stay below 400 feet, at least 150 feet away from the buildings and people. While operating drone, don't operate the drone very close to the people. You should away from people always. So you always observe your drones at all times, either line of sight like eyesight or by using your video screen. So never fly near aircraft. You should not fly drone near aircraft. So enjoy responsibility while flying drone. You will surely enjoy, but during enjoy time you should not make a fun anything. So please be responsibility while flying your drone. Next, applications of drone. Nowadays drones are used in most of the areas. So some of the areas are search and rescue, disaster response, asset protection, wildlife monitoring, firefighting, communications relay, health and agriculture. uh, Drones are mostly used in the firefighting uh, condition, like that, to using thermal image camera to focus whether the people is present inside the building or not during the fire time, and they can also make a plan how that fire goes in the future. And during the wildlife protection, that police can protect the wildlife animals from the poachers. and also using the disaster response, like in that in 2015 that Chennai uh, faced a huge flood. At that time, drones were used to searching the people and health and agriculture. Nowadays, most of that drones are used for sending the agricultural parts and then medical parts to some villages. Yeah, in this image you can see one parcel is that this is a Amazon and a Walmart and so many big companies use drone for delivering the products. Okay, next application of drone again, COVID-19. How the drones are used mostly nowadays for control the COVID-19. So in this picture you see one drone. So this is agricultural drone used for spraying the fertilizers over the agricultural crops or field. So this is a tank where we fill our fertilizers. So these are the sprays which spray the fertilizers over the field. So this drone used now for spraying the sanitizer. So we just fill the sanitizer. So in this box, in this white can, using the pump to pump from this can to spray through this green nozzle. Yeah. In this image you can see this is a guy, his name Murali. He is our Arrow alumni, 2017 passed out. Now he acts as a warrior against COVID-19. Now he demonstrating drone to the minister. So drone can controlled by remotely operated what he hold in his hand. There is one screen is also there. So we can visually see the drone, or we can use the camera. We can use the camera uh, to control the drone anywhere else around the 1 kilometer distance. We can control our drone. We should not follow the drone. Why? Because we use a camera. Okay, camera is there, GPS is there, everything is there to control the drone. So just stand in one place, we can spray the sanitizers around some 1 kilometer radius. So now we are in intro section. So thank you so much for listening my online workshop so far. If you have any valuable feedback, so please click in the description. There is one link is there. So go and give your feedback. And those who registered for this course, so e-certificate will be provided to you through your mail. Okay, if you have any further doubt or clarification, please comment here. Thank you.